video, we're going to be drawing this little cat. Now, I printed out the picture in black and white so that I can see all the different shades of gray in the picture, since I'll be drawing in pencil anyway. And that's what we'll get with the pencil, is the different grayscale that we see. So I'm looking at this picture, and the first thing I notice are the shapes. I see the shape of the kitty's head, sort of like an oval. I see sort of a rectangle here, an oval here, and maybe an oval there. Oh, and of course the triangles. Got some triangles there. So we're going to start with those basic shapes. I'm going to start with his head, and his head, like I said, is sort of an oval shape. So I'm using a very dark pencil, so you can see it on this video, but usually you'll want to use something light, like a 2H or a 3H, or even a 4H, because some of these lines we're going to erase later, and they'll be much easier to erase. So I start with an oval for his head. And this isn't going to be exactly right, and I'm not even making a solid line, am I? Because I'm sort of testing it out to make sure it will fit okay. And a lot of these lines I'm going to erase later. There's sort of the oval for his head. And what you can do if it's helpful, the other nice thing about having a printout is you can draw right on the paper and get a good feel for it. Okay, there's his head. So go ahead and draw the oval now. Next, we're going to add his features on his little face. So the first thing I notice are these triangular ears. This one is much skinnier than this one because its head is turned and it's further away from us. And it actually looks like it's more up on the top of his head, doesn't it? So I'm going to make a skinnier triangle up here. And look, there's actually a very wide space between his ears. Sometimes when people draw cats, they draw them with the ears very close, but there's not. There's a wide space for you to pat that kitty on the head. And so you want to put this ear way out here. And this one actually comes in about halfway down the side of his face. And it's round. It's not perfectly pointed, is it? Kind of round. And I might change this around a little more later on. Okay, so I have his ears. Go ahead and draw the ears of your cat. Now we're going to draw his face. So if I can show you on here, this is just a scrap paper. Don't draw this. This is just to show you. When animals have forward-facing eyes, like people, cats and dogs do, monkeys do, a lot of mammals do, what you can do is you can draw a T on the face, and this would be really, really light because we are going to erase it. And I call these the guidelines for where the eyes and nose are going to go. This vertical line cuts the nose in half. So the nose would be divided right in half like that. And the horizontal line is where the eyes can go. This cat is a little surprised, it looks like. And then this, the center line again, the center vertical line, also cuts the mouth in half. So these guidelines are helpful in placing the features of the animal or even a person. Now this kitty's head is turned, so when a forward-facing animal has its head turned, you'll notice these guidelines kind of go off to the side. I could draw it right here, and following sort of the slope of the head through the middle of the nose, middle of the mouth. You see it kind of curves even, but it's not perfectly in the center, is it? It's off to the side because the kitty is looking off to the side. So I'm going to put this off to the side. This one's still pretty much in the middle. And this is going to make my kitty be looking that way. Now he's suddenly looking that way. So that's what we want to do on the drawing. So on our drawing, let's make these guidelines. And again, you want these very, very light because we are definitely going to erase these lines. And you can draw in here to kind of see how they go. See, it's not straight down the center. It's off to the side. Then we're going to bring this one around like that. And it about touches the bottom of the ear. Do you see how that line does that? And now I can place, now that I have these guidelines, so take a moment to draw your guidelines, and let's place the features. So here's my middle line, and the eyes are quite a bit over from there. So my eye's going to start right about here. It is a diagonal line this way, and then a straight line that way. Then the other eye is not quite as far from that center line because his head is turned. I'll draw that eye going that way. And then his little nose is going to be on this line, right about here. And then his little mouth. And if you look at his mouth, this line is short. This one is longer because his head is turned. And so I'm going to make that shorter and this one longer. So now I have his features on there. Now we can see that some of the shape of his head is wrong. From this side of the eye to the edge, from the side of the eye to the edge, this is much shorter than what I have, isn't it? So I'm going to want to change that shape a bit. And that's okay. You just keep revising it as you go along. So I don't need that. If I was drawing with a lighter pencil, all that would be gone. Now I can see my ear is not quite high enough. Looks like it's falling off his head, so I'm going to move that up. Since I moved his head in, I'm going to move his ear up too. There, that's looking better, isn't it? He's looking a little better. This eye, his head is tipped, so this eye actually is more of a little more of a slant. Let's give this one a little more of a slant. Then that one, it's a little wider in. About like that. So I think I like how his features are going. This ear could probably be a little slantier than I have it. Again, that's okay. You can make as many changes as you need to until you get it like you like it. All right, go ahead and draw his features. All right, now let's put this little kitty's body on him. So looking here at this, I noticed that this line is pretty straight. It comes out just a little. And to see how long it is, so I'm going to measure from the tip of my pencil to where the top of his head comes is about that long. And that actually, from that point to where the green part of my pencil ends, that's where his body ends. So, and you'll see this is, I made him pretty proportional to what's on the paper. So I know that his body will end right about here. Then I'm going to start at the side of his face and bring it out like that. Now this part of his neck, it comes right off of the ear, doesn't it? So I'm going to bring that part down like this, and then it comes out again. Bring it out again. Then I have this oval of a foot coming up here, and it goes almost to the whole edge of his head. So I'll bring that there, bring that there, and oh, look, I'm about out of room for his paw, but I just have just enough, I think. Probably should have started him a little further up on the paper, maybe. Maybe this might just be too long, but those are all things you can change as you go along. And then I'll bring the flower pot around, like so. It's got these two sides here, and then this bottom edge comes down by his paw. This one's under that paw. And the flower pot's going to keep going. And now for his back comes in right there. So let's bring his back out. Right about like that. So go ahead and draw the body of your cat and the flower pot he's sitting in. So now I have the basic cat on the paper. I'm not done yet, but this is a good start. So I'm going to erase these guidelines. I don't need these. And see a little bit better what I'm doing. Erase these. Okay. Erase these things. Okay, now let's look at him again. And this is where we can kind of fix him up and make sure he's just how we want him. So he looks pretty good here. I think here it's all right. This part of the pot actually would come out much further, so I could bring that out further. Like that. This part of his leg, looking at this again, see how low this one comes? Mine's very high, so I'm going to bring that down about like that. I'm just sort of fixing up his shape here. The edge of the flower pot, make that a little rounder. I think his leg goes up way a little too high there. Alrighty, and there's his head. This eye looks a little off to me. I am not sure why, but I'm going to change it a little bit. See if here is his little nose. Right there. And the eye kind of goes maybe more like this. Just a slight change, but that's all right. Because drawing is all about seeing and seeing how these lines connect. And this little eye is a little thicker right there. How's he looking? Maybe this comes down about like that. I think this eye should be longer. There we go. I like that better. And his head and this ear, I think should still be a little more slanted there. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with how this little cat is turning out. In the next video, we are going to add some fur. So now we have the basic kitty on the paper, and hopefully you are using a light colored pencil, much lighter than mine. But like I said, I'm doing mine for this video with the darker pencil. So, but now it's time to grab your darker pencil because we're going to start making some fur on this little kitty. So an animal, let's bring back my cat face here. Animals, when you're drawing fur on their face, think about when you were little, or even now, if you want to draw a sun, you might draw it like this, right? The center of the sun with the rays coming out. Animal fur is very similar. It will go, if this were the center of the sun, the animal fur, we'll give him a cuter eye there so he's not so crazy. The fur goes around the center of the face the same way we might draw the rays of a sun. So looking at this kitty, you can see how the fur is going this way, then this way, and this way, and out that way. We can erase these other lines on him now too. Okay, so let's start drawing some fur on him. Now the secret to drawing fur is when the fur is darker, right, as in here or here, your lines are going to be closer together. Or you can just make it darker with your pencil, but to make effective fur, it's nice to do lines. So the furs are closer together. Right here, where the fur is lighter, I'm going to do lines that are more spaced out. Like that. So you see how it gives them, tricks the eye into thinking that it's lighter there. Although my pencil lines are all the same darkness right now, and darker here because they're closer together. And what I usually do when I'm drawing something that has colored fur like this, I might draw some of it and then take my finger and rub over it to fill in any spots, especially where it's dark. Like that. Then you go in and do lines for fur again. Now these lines on his nose are going to be going this way, like the sun, like our sun that we did. So the lines up here are going to be going upward. So I can, even though I kind of smudge it to fill in the gaps, I can still go back and even darken it some more, especially right over here. It's got really dark right there. Just making it darker. Really dark right above his eye. Right there. And then I can do lots of little bitty marks down here. And this smudge, the dark goes all the way over here. And then on this side of his eye. And see our kitty suddenly taking shape there. Now here, I'm making the fur go sideways because our sun has those rays going off to the side there. So I'm making the fur go sideways here. And instead of having this solid line for his head, he's a furry animal. So we can give it a furry side to his head. Like that. So all these solid lines, we are going to get rid of them all, which is why it's good if you drew them lightly. Because we're going to get rid of them all to make him have furry sides everywhere. And so you just fill him in there. He's got lots of long hair in his ears going out this way. Even on the top of his head, you don't have to have a solid line there. You can just do little bits of fur. He's got a dark spot here. These are long. Okay, so these are long hairs in his ear, and they curve. So you want to do that. You want to make your lines match the fur. This long and curvy. Do you see the dark in his ear? I can do that with my finger. Now you think, oh, these are light colored fur pieces, but that's okay. You can just use an eraser to make the lighter fur there. And just keep going with your kitty till you get all his fur on there. Oh, he needs another dark spot here. Another dark spot here. And wherever you can see the fur, you just draw it very, very lightly if it's whitish color. And just darken it in if it's not. Okay, and you keep doing the rest of his face that way too. Then we can also do his little chin. He's got some fur down here. Might want to erase some of these solid lines too. And some over here. So I'm going to finish my kitty's face, and you finish your kitty's face. Okay, I added a little bit of shading over here to kind of darken that up, and added some more stripes. We also can add this kitty's whiskers. I haven't done that yet. And add some on this side. Okay, but we still have his body to do. So again, think of fur as going around sort of as a sun. And you want your lines to go in the same direction the fur is going. So here, they're going out this way, aren't they? Here they're actually coming sort of down to the front. Here they're going to be going down this way and out this way. And this fur on his body is longer than the fur on his face. So I'm going to make my lines longer. So I erased these solid lines, and now I'm giving him these nice furry lines. And I can darken it in under his chin right here a little bit. And if I need to, I can go back and erase if that part on his face was too dark. And he's got, you can just see the lines for his fur. They're just going all kinds of directions, aren't they? He's got a dark shadow. So this is going to be a solid line right there because it's a dark shadow. He's got some fur going there. Anywhere you see it's just kind of gray, you can add some shadows with your finger. A little bit of fur going here. You don't have to draw every hair. Some places you can just show there is some hair. Like right here, I've just drawn a few lines, and you know the kitty is white there. He's got long fur. And these are stripes on his little paw here. I can color that with my finger a little bit. It's just graphite on my finger from rubbing it there. Going to add a little more. Give the kitty a couple toes. We see his toes there. Make this furry as well. His back over here, I can tell it's lots of fur there. And what I could do is color all that in. If I don't have enough graphite on my finger, what I do is I take a scratch paper, rub my pencil on it, get lots of graphite on the paper, on my finger, and then I can color all that in. And to make the lighter fur, again, I can use an eraser to make some bits of white fur in there. And I probably want this to be a little furrier too. Add some marks of fur. Add some white fur. And then for the flower pot, again, I might want to color it just with graphite. There's a couple ways. I could rub my finger over it like that and color it in, or I could just Go over it first with a pencil and give it some texture. Go over it like that. There's lots of different ways you can add that shading, and you could cross hatch it, go one direction, then go the other direction. That if you want to. If you want it perfectly smooth, I would suggest just getting the graphite off the paper and doing it, but there's all kinds of ways. See, that's where there's my other paper's underneath and it's creating that line there. So you don't want that. And then you finish up your kitty. Good job!